to the front and worship with us. We're going to do a bit of an acoustic set today. You have brought me to the water where my past can be swept away in the current of your mercy, and I know I'll never be the same. There's no limit to your promise. Jesus, you have done it all for me. Jesus, you have done it all for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grace comes like a wave crashing over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over and over and over. Crashing over and over and over. I will jump into the water where my soul can be satisfied, and your love is overflowing from within me, and it won't run dry. There's no limit to your promise. Jesus, you have done it all for me. Jesus, you have done it all for me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over and over and over. Grace comes like a wave crashing over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over and over and over. Crashing over and over and over. There is healing in the water with a love that flows so deep. Wash over me, wash over me. Forgiveness in the water with a love that flows so deep. Wash over me, wash over me. Salvation in the water with a love that flows so deep. Wash over me, wash over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over and over and over. Grace comes like a wave crashing over me. Grace comes like a wave crashing over and over and over. Crashing over and over and over. Crashing over and over and over.
Alright. How we doing this morning? You guys good? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, I want to encourage you guys, if you are in the back, if you are sitting anywhere in the back, I want everybody to stand up wherever you're at. Come on up to the furthest most part of the down area that you can. Sorry, I can't talk today. We're going to continue worshiping God, just giving all we got to Him for what He's done. So. He's coming on the clouds. The kings and kingdoms will bow down. And every chain will break as broken hearts declare His praise. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is a lion, the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood open up the gates. So open up the gates and make way before the King of Kings. Our God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before him. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Oh, who can stop the Lord Almighty? For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Oh, who can stop the Lord Almighty? Or who can stop the Lord Almighty? For who can stop the Lord? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains.
Every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb.
Oh, every knee will bow before him. All right, so would you pray with me? Lord God, we just thank you so much for who you are, just the strength that you have in our lives, and just also the humility that came to Jesus on the cross as he just laid his life in surrender for us this very morning and for our lives. And so we thank you for who you are, and we just press into you. In your name, I pray these things. Amen. Amen.
How's it going? Feeling good? You looking good? Some of you are like, no, I'm not looking good today. My mom rushed me to church. Didn't let me take a shower. Hopefully that's not the case. Okay, hey, I got a couple shout outs for you guys. Number one, first shout out is Any of you that helped out with Manna Christmas yesterday was really awesome. There were a bunch of you there that helped, get gifts for families who have a hard time getting gifts for their family, and it was really awesome. In fact, we're going to be helping out with Manna a lot, okay? So coming up, this is one of our first events, but coming up, like Tuesday nights, we feed the people who need food. And so we want to get your small groups involved and get them going on Tuesday nights. We'll talk about more of that later on. But another shout out I have is to our 8th graders. Shout out to our 8th graders who had 8th grade takeover last week. That was absolutely awesome. I got to watch some of it on video this past week, and you guys look good. All right, it's really great. Those of you that are not in 8th grade, that's okay. You will be in 8th grade sometime, and you'll be doing an 8th grade takeover yourself, which I'm really, really excited about. So what they did is they started out this series called Unexpected. And so in the next several weeks, we're going to be doing this series called Unexpected, and it's about Christmas, and it's about how, God gives us these unexpected gifts during Christmas. And what I'm going to talk about today a little bit is friendship. And I know it doesn't always, you don't necessarily think of friendship when you think of Christmas. You think a lot of times more of family. In fact, what are some things that you think of when you hear the word Christmas? What comes to mind? Shout them out for me. Presents. Snowmen. Jesus. Okay, that's a pretty good one. Elves. Santa Claus. Reindeer. Okay, all right. All right, a lot of stuff. You think of a lot of things, during Christmas. But today we're going to talk about some friendships. And here's what I need you to do. In your mind, I need you to start thinking of the person that gets you the most, all right? The person that is maybe one of your best friends or whatever, and they just get you, all right? They just understand you. You guys are on the same wavelength. Maybe you finish each other's sentences at times, all right? Like, this is that person. And for girls, it's really interesting, all right? Because girls, y'all have like a way of communicating with each other without even saying anything, all right? Like sometimes y'all just like telepathically or something with your minds, you like shoot something over to your friend and they just totally understand it. Girls can communicate with other girls with just like a head nod, like, and it's just like, what did they just say? Like, what just happened there? Like, I have overheard girls' conversations that are just like half sentences, like, well, he just, and I was like, oh, and another girl was like, oh yeah, and you're like, what just happened there? Like, what were they just saying? Guys communicate more with their words, right? Like with actual words, and they say certain things. Listen, a girl will say the sentence, I have to go to the bathroom. And what that means is that not only does she get to go to the bathroom, but she's inviting all the other girls who can hear her to go to the bathroom as well. All right, and then they get up like a pack and like go to the bathroom together somehow. All right, when a guy says, I have to go to the bathroom, you know what that means? Just them, all right? They are the only ones going to the bathroom. In fact, if a guy says they have to go to the bathroom and then they go to the bathroom and like 4 other dudes follow them, that's weird, okay? That's gonna creep them out. They're gonna be like, what are you guys doing in here? This is awkward, okay? But girls like communicate without communicating. In fact, for a guy, it's oftentimes difficult to communicate with girls because girls just sort of expect certain things of guys. They know what it's like to talk with other girls, and they communicate by looking at each other somehow. And they expect guys to do that at times. Right, like especially if you're dating a girl and a guy can sort of tell that something's wrong with the girl, and they're afraid to ask them because they don't know how they're going to react in that moment. And so they finally are like, okay, hey, is something wrong? And then the girl is just like, oh my gosh. Let me just tell you, if you really cared about me, you would already know. And you're just like, what do you mean already? Like, just by your posture, I should know what's going on right now. If you really cared and you really knew me, you would already know what's going on. And then the guy's like, okay, like, what? I don't understand. What is it? What shouldn't I know? Or whatever. And she's like, well, maybe we should just stop doing this. Maybe we should just stop. And the guy is like, oh, like, we should stop dating, we should just break up. And then the girl's like, what? No, you think we should break up? Oh my gosh. And then the guy's like, well, you said stop doing something. And she's like, I just meant like we should stop sitting next to each other at lunch every single day or something. And you're like, oh, yeah. Okay, and she's like, you think we should break up? Oh my gosh, why are you even saying this? You're like, I'm so sorry, that's not what I meant. And she's like, well, you should just know. And I don't understand this with girls, okay? It's very difficult with guys. Girls can communicate with each other in a weird way, and then they expect guys to communicate. Because here's the deal, girls just get each other sometimes, right? They can just figure it out with each other. And you know what? The truth is, guys have this some too, right? There's some things that guys know. They don't do the bathroom thing or other crazy things, but they do just know. Like my friends, one of my best friend is... found out, it was my birthday last month. And so he just knows that I'm not the kind of person that wants to celebrate my birthday with like a big party and a bunch of people. I just think that's weird. Like I don't like people looking at me while I'm blowing out the candles. I just don't like the whole thing. And so he's like, we're not going to do anything, but he did get me a gift. Okay. And I didn't ask for a gift. I didn't even really want a gift, but he got me a gift. And I am so sorry to have to admit this to everyone, but this is going to make me sound really nerdy. What he got me was an Xbox controller called the Xbox Elite controller, okay? And if you don't know what that is, normal Xbox controllers have like 50 buttons on them. This one has like 150 buttons on it. And, when I was growing up and we would play video games, there'd be like a joystick and a button and you would just do this, sort of thing. But now you can use all of your fingers at once to play a video game. And so now as they've got me this controller, I can play video games and I'm just like, just like going after it. It gets kind of intense. And this is not the kind of thing that I would buy for myself, but he got it for me and got some other people to pitch in because he just gets me, right? He just understands. And many of you have friends like that as well. But here's the deal. None of your friends, nobody has the perfect friend that gets them with everything, that understands everything, right? Because you are your own individual person, right? You've grown up with a different family than your friends and with different gifts and different attributes, okay? No one perfectly gets you. They might get you with a lot of things, but then there's some stuff that you feel alone about, that you feel like, man, nobody really understands this. And so what does this have to do with Christmas? All right, well, hang on, just wait a second. We are going to start talking about Christmas. First, in fact, what I want us to do is look at the very first Christmas ever. All right, it's going to be in Matthew chapter 1. All right, this is the very first Christmas, and here's what's happening. And the book of Matthew is one of the books that tells us about the life of Jesus. Okay, the other three books are Mark, Luke, and John. And if you want to, what I would recommend everybody do, everybody should get one of those books and just start reading it in the month of December. All right, it's going to help you as you get to know Jesus more and try to get the whole reason of the season thing going. Just read one of those books. But in the book of Matthew, we see the life of Jesus, and we watch how Joseph reacted to finding out that his fiancée, Mary, was pregnant and that he wasn't the father, okay? Now, this is bad news for a relationship. All right, if you find out your fiance is pregnant and you're not the father, essentially, what happens, I don't want to get into the biology of it. This isn't health class, but they didn't do the thing that you're supposed to do in order to create a baby, okay? They didn't do that, and he knew it, all right? He would have been like, I would have been there, and he wasn't there, and so he's like, I didn't do that, and so she must have cheated on me, or something weird happened, right? If there was reality TV back then, this would be a pretty juicy episode, right? This would be like super juicy, like, oh my gosh, she cheated on him, and he didn't even know, and then he leaves, and unfortunately, guys do that at times. Girls, like in your most desperate moment, the guy leaves, like how horrible is that? And that's what's happening. Okay, and so Joseph leaves. He gets out, but right after he leaves, during his sort of freak out moment, he decides to leave, but then right in the middle of this freak out moment, an angel appeared to Joseph to stay and not to worry, and that there's this whole plan, and tells him this stuff and kind of calms him down. So let's read about that. This is Matthew chapter 1, verse 20. And it says, as he, Joseph, as he considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream. Joseph, son of David, the angel said, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, For the child within her was conceived by the Holy Spirit, and she will have a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. So the angel said that Jesus would come to rescue all these people from their sins. Now, this is pretty incredible, right? It's very unexpected, like to have a baby, and like your baby is going to save everybody from their sins. That's pretty intense, right? But what happens next in the next few verses is even more unexpected, all right? Check out verse 22. It says, all of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet. Verse 23, look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. Okay, so many of you know the Christmas song, O come, Emmanuel. I mean, we talked about it last week a little bit, is that the coming of Jesus is God being with us, is Jesus being with us, Jesus here on earth with us. Okay, now, we don't always think about this, but essentially God came down to earth, and he walked on the same earth that we walked on. Right? He's breathed the same air that we can breathe. You know, he's done this. He's eaten stuff, right? He's gotten sick. All right, Jesus probably had chores that he was supposed to do. All right, he had annoying a brother, you know. I mean, his parents, like he probably fought with them. I mean, in fact, you don't think about this very often, but Jesus was once y'all's age. Right? He was probably your height at some point, right? I mean, he was that way. I mean, he went through crazy middle school stuff. Okay, and on top of that, like Jesus knows what it's like to be picked on. Like Jesus was bullied. People bullied him, right? Like he sort of gets it a little bit more. Like he's been in a lot of these different circumstances, okay? It's kind of crazy when we think about it. And this is what was really unexpected. Okay, because when people, now for us, we kind of get it because we're like, well, you know, we've heard the Christmas story for a while. We know that Jesus is the reason of the season and all that stuff. But back in the day when he first came, that's not what they were thinking. Okay, what they were expecting a Messiah, a king to come down. Someone who was like powerful and amazing. And Jesus came down in an unexpected way as a baby. Right? And on top of that, they probably expected him to come down with this like awesome like golden throne and like this really big robe and maybe a scepter, you know, or something. I don't know. But he was born in a cave, like a dirty cave. And it's like, what in the world? Like this is all really unexpected. But the most unexpected thing is his relationship with us. Because when you think of a king, when you think of a king coming down, you think of a king as like sitting on his throne, distant from other people, you know, judging people and whatever. And that's not what Jesus did. If you get in your Bibles this week and you start reading in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, you're going to see that Jesus, he humbled himself. He made friends. He got to know people. He was with the people in so many different places. You know, he did what they did. He didn't put himself up on a pedestal. He just walked with them. It was an incredible thing. Right? Sometimes we get these unexpected gifts. And if you're like me, you know, my parents, when I was growing up and, you know, for Christmas time and everything, like they would start wrapping the gift. Do your parents already have gifts under the tree? Some of your parents, yeah, okay. Some of your parents are ahead of the game. Others of you are just like, what in the world, Mom? Am I getting anything? You know, you're just wondering. But if you're like me, you look at those presents and you start to see, like, you see the big one. You know, there's like maybe a big one and you're like, all right, that one is awesome. I can't wait to open that one first. And if your parents are anything like my parents, they're like, no, you got to open that one last. You have to open the small one first and then take your time and blah, blah, blah. But what you want to do is just rip in to that big one. You're just like, I'm going to go. But here's what happens sometimes. You know, this is what's one of the things that started to happen when I was in middle school, and I'm sure this has happened to some of you. As you get older, you start getting some older gifts. And I don't know that it's like this for girls, but I know as guys, the first Christmas where I didn't get a toy, you know, didn't get like something to play with, like I got just like clothes instead. And like my big gift was a jacket. And I'm like, what? Like this is what Christmas is? I didn't, you know, sometimes you open these gifts and you get something unexpected and it's something that you don't even really like a whole lot. You're like, what's the point of this? You know, so like when I open this gift, there's something unexpected in here, and it looks kind of pointless, right? I mean, basically, this is just a piece of paper, right? This is just like a piece of paper, and you're like, all right, this is not a good gift. All right, but It's not the piece of paper that makes this a good gift. It's what it says on the piece of paper that makes it a good gift. Or what it says is that Jesus gets you. All right, the unexpected gift that Jesus has for you is that he gets you. In fact, in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15, what it says is that Jesus knows every thought and emotion, right? It says he understands our weakness, for he faced all of the same testings that we do. Like he gets it. He gets you. In fact, there are these two words that I think really bond people together. It's when someone says, me too, me also. Right? When you're telling someone a story about your life, you're like, oh yeah, me too. I've been through that. When someone says that to you, it's like, wow, okay, we're connected. You don't feel as alone anymore. Well, Jesus has been through so many things, some amazing things, some difficult things, and it's all stuff that you guys have been through as well. Jesus gets you more than anybody could ever get you. Not only because he walked on this earth, but he's seen you, right? He helped create you. He knows more about you than you even know. And that's one of the unexpected gifts, right? He's felt that pain on your behalf. So what I want us to do is I want you to think about these kind of Me Too moments. Like Jesus, when you're talking to Jesus and you're praying with him, he's saying me too back to you. He's like, yeah, me too, I get it. Right? In fact, I was thinking about my own life, and everybody in here has got different things about their life that they feel like that other people don't go through, or other people just don't get it. Well, let me tell you, one of the things in my life is, first of all, that I'm a pastor, and obviously there's other pastors out there, but there's a lot of people that aren't pastors, and I'm kind of weird in that way, okay, because most other guys and girls that are working out there, they get the weekends off. Like, I don't get the weekends off. I work on the weekends. Some people kind of expect me to be a certain way, and when I'm not that perfect person that they expect me to be, then they just kind of look at me in shame. It's not easy. Okay, and then on top of that, I do have some pastor friends, right? And they get me. They understand some of the pressures and some of the things that I go through. But what I was thinking about this week is that none of my pastor friends, in fact, I don't know many pastors out there who are single and don't have kids. And that's me, right? Like, all of my other friends are married and they have kids, and there are pastors out there like me, not as many as old as me, not as many in this kind of stage of life as me. And so the truth is, there's a lot of people that don't really get me and don't get what I go through. And I was thinking about Jesus and about this message this week. You know what hit me? This hit me for the very first time. I've never thought about this before. But Jesus walked on this earth, and he was single, and he was basically a pastor. I mean, Jesus was a single pastor like me. And it hit me this week, and I was just like, wow, like he really does get me. And I'm telling you, some of you out there might be thinking, Jesus doesn't get me. Okay, but I'm telling you, what if you just prayed to him and just talked to him about it? And I think that you would discover that he does, that he gets you more than you think that he does. You see, the unexpected gift to us this season is that Jesus gets you. And it's not a gift that you're gonna have to return in a few months, or it's not a gift that a year from now, you're gonna have the old model and the new model is gonna be there. Okay, this is gonna be a gift for the rest of your life into eternity. But there is someone, Jesus, who just gets you. I want you to all bow your heads with me right now. Bow your heads, and as you bow your heads, I want you to think about, what is that thing about you that maybe other people just don't seem to understand? They just don't get about you. They don't realize, what it is. Maybe it's something with your family, or something about you personally. Maybe it's part of the way you look, or the way that you act, or whatever it is. I don't know. I want you to think about that thing that's kind of difficult to people to understand. And what I want you to do is I want you to just talk to Jesus about it right now. Talk to him. And just say, Jesus, this is something that is tough in my life. I'm just going to ask that you show me that you understand. So just take a few moments right now with your heads bowed and your eyes closed to just talk to Jesus, this guy who knows you better than you even know yourself.
Would you stand with me as we respond and worship? You give light. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. You give light. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts cry out, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Why don't you guys sing this? And all keep lifting up our voice to our God. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts cry out, these bones will you guys know, since Matt was talking about it, and because it's Christmas, and every kid knows, but we're going to sing a little bit of a Christmas song here. So sing out with all you got. Help us out here. Here we go.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous
We've heard. Here we go.
angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains.
All right, great job.
Wow, guys. Hey, well, when I think of Christmas, that's the message that I think of. I think of Jesus coming into earth when there was no hope, there was no connection. And if I'm honest with you, this Christmas season, I think that I need that more than ever before. When I think about the world, I think about the things that are going on in my life, just like Matt was saying, the two main things that I struggle with the most is the pain that happens in my family, and with me being the only Christian in my family, I kind of feel alien and feel weird. And so when I can cling to Jesus, he fills my heart with hope. He fills my heart with assurance. And if I'm honest, I'm like, God, I really need you this season to show up in such a way that I know that you get me. And I would encourage you today during small group to talk about those one or two things that might have surfaced in you that Jesus can really heal, redeem, and bring close once again this holiday season. If you need prayer for anything, Matt will be up front. We love you guys. Guys will go across the hall and girls will stay here. See you soon.